And what's the point of this info? I honestly, have no idea. To be honest, I didn't expect this result. I actually thought this little machine, well, let's just say couldn't really produce a great black color, that it wouldn't handle certain tasks, but that wasn't the case. Photo engraving is what this machine does, so you can actually burn in a nice black high contrast saturated color, especially for photos. I just decided to test it out, thinking, well, I just need to make a video, so I'll just do it. In the end, it is what it is. Watch until the end. All the layouts will be on the Telegram channel. I'll share my thoughts on this. Man, I've already got some ideas along these lines. Let's go. Hey there, friends. Hello to everyone. My name's Igor, the Gravity Engraving channel, a channel about laser machines and markers. And there's one little detail here. A detail. Today's topic was about photo engraving, so today it's the xTool F2 Ultra. I thought, well, I need to film a video on metals. I purposely put this off until the very end, making these photo engravings. On aluminum plates, I knew it was simple and easy, and the quality turns out quite good. But I still needed to make a video to show a specific final result on metal. I thought I'd run a test with the preset parameters and settings, thinking maybe something would work out, so to speak. Again, let's open it from the projects. You can't open it. Basically, this project has been deleted. And the point is, I made all these templates, tested them, and then basically forgot about them. And today, I decided to start with these materials specifically for metal. Again, after looking through all the possible options for templates and layouts, seeing how people engrave, where they engrave, and what they engrave on, I found a bunch of different options for the F1, 2, and 10 watt. Basically, people are doing stuff. But again, I didn't really find much photo engraving here. Let's go to the templates. In the templates, everything is either wood related or there's nothing else like that. Again, if we look at photo engraving on stone, we see it's the xTool S1, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a 20 watt diode. Here, the engraving's also done with a diode on wood, so for metal, we won't find any amazing results or ready-made templates here. Nobody's really showing that off. Again, I'll say it once more, 3D engraving on metal is possible with the F1 Ultra 20 watt. And we can do the same on the F2 Ultra too. We're looking at wood again for the same thing. The F1 Ultra 20 watt uses the blue diode. And no matter how much I scroll, it's either 3D printing or it's work done with an F1 2 watt diode, but here it's likely a 10 watt diode doing the burning. Because basically all the parameters point to exactly that. Everything I'm looking at is directly related to wood. Finding a decent photo engraving on metal is pretty much impossible here. Let's open this little thing. S1 10 watt. So once again, guys, I'll repeat myself. Everything I can't find here is somehow made, well, on some other machines. You can hardly see any photo engravings for the F1 Ultra here. Maybe they're around somewhere, possibly. There are a lot of templates here. There's no function here to filter out templates with photo engraving. Opening it again, S1 photo engraving. So for F1 Ultra, F2 Ultra photo engravings. I can't find them. Again, maybe they're somewhere. But scrolling like this, I haven't found any super mega results. And it's just the same thing over and over again. So back to our templates, let's go to photo engraving. Here, our template will consist of a cleaning mode, so the base is in engraving mode. You can see all the parameters on the desktop. Crosshatch doesn't help here, it just causes problems. Using the same cats, I decided to just set the templates. I've saved all the templates. So you have the opportunity to use this template. Let's look at this template. I just made this one last. I tweaked it a little bit. I also tweaked this template actually. It'll be there too. It's called Stucky, I think, if I'm saying it right. Yeah. And out of all the templates, I like this option. Let's not spend too much time looking at all these options. Metalwork. The very first thing we need to do is set the pulse duration. Basically, we're baking the metal until it's black. Maybe there's massive quality here. But then again, engraving like this will take forever. I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. It'll be very long, time-consuming. And massive. At 250 dpi, a 40 by 40 millimeter image, well, not dpi, but duration, takes about 25 minutes to engrave. That's very, very long, but we get premium photo engraving quality, our power's at 15%. I set the DPI to the maximum value, and why did I start getting frustrated initially? Because even in these operating modes on this equipment, I mean, we're talking about limited DPI here. If we're talking about professional machines, then the allowable DPI goes up to 5000 DPI, not per inch, but per centimeter, which is actually a lot. Here we have the option, let's say, well, a maximum of 1270. And so that annoyed me a bit because I was, well, afraid I wouldn't be able to make a high quality photo. Moving on. My frequency range was left over from the previous settings, meaning the settings were made specifically for inverse work on aluminum plates with black paint, with a black coating. The frequency was automatically set to 252. I didn't even touch it. I thought, well, whatever happens, happens. I started the process, and when I came back about 15 minutes later to look at this pigeon, I just couldn't believe it. The quality is just gorgeous. Just as you see the image, the exact same thing was happening during the process. What are we gonna do now? I'm gonna hit pause now. I have an order for some photos. Maybe I'll make them right now on this machine. I'm really itching to do this. I really want to test it because I have an order for tags with photo engraving. Let's see the result, because what I did on fiber lasers, specifically with ESCAD 2.0, requires way too many settings. Settings like Start TC, Laser Off, Ignition, Decay, NTC, Polygon TC, Density, DPI, Speed, Frequency. I mean, you have to mess around with it way too much. Sure, you do it once or twice, set up the machine, and you get a great result in the end. Here, I didn't bother. I just took what was there, set it up, and off we go. Just a reminder, we're using a JPT source here, 60M7, and 15% is plenty. Again, with the lens, roughly speaking, let's say f300, 320, meaning the working area is 220 by 220. So I'm gonna grab the photos, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. We'll just drop them in at the quality I have. They were just sent to me via WhatsApp, and we'll test it by loading them here without any fuss to see what we get out of it overall. Actually, I thought about it some more, and I'm not going to use the photos that, well, I will, but later. If I upload the photos from our order, there's a slight issue because at some point the clients might say like delete them or delete the whole video, which I really don't want to do. So let's work with, say, a result of genetic engineering, right? This is just a photo from the internet, some Indian actor. It doesn't matter to us at all. We'll set the height to 50 millimeters since our tag size is 50 millimeters. I'm just going to turn everything off beforehand, though I could leave it. It doesn't matter. We can just delete it. It's not important now. I've saved the templates. So what's next? We'll keep this for now. It'll come in handy. We place the tag, set the focal distance, and I'll show you how to set it up the easy way. At least here, it's even easier than in other programs. Click on the desktop capture button. Again, I'm definitely not going to use the LiDAR right now. With LiDAR, we might run into trouble because it'll act up on the shiny surface, jumping up and down all over the place. Let's not do that. Next. Why is it easy to work here? Select vector work here. And I'll just, well, I'd click around like this, a bit wider than the tag itself. At least it'll be easier for me to work this way. The downside is I'm not using a backing. There's a chance I'll damage our base a bit, but that's what it's for, to take the brunt of it throughout its life while we're working with our tag. And on the machine in general. So we'll add as many vectors as possible to create a more rounded surface. But again, I'm doing all of this with a bit of a margin. I'll show you how I would do it now. Yeah, I'll probably just do it that way with the main tag, so we don't burn off any excess material around it. Vector finished. Yeah, it's a bit crooked, but it doesn't matter. So the next part is also as simple as can be. Click Done here, grab our photo, and drop it into the center of our workspace. Now we set it up however we want to work with this particular photo. So we can already see from the vector what the best option will be, let's say. We can, mess around with it a bit, stretch it out. Don't forget about the hole in the tag itself. So using Control, I think, select the vector, then select the image. Go to create mask mode, everything looks good, click done, and great, it's created. What did we miss? Control Z, let's create a copy of our vector. Click cancel here, Control Z again. Why do we need this? To set up a cleaning pass. So we can turn it off here, and over here we'll copy it and add it back in. One vector will be used for the photo mask, and the other vector will be used specifically for the cleaning pass. What am I doing now? I think I messed up. I must have shifted one of the vectors slightly. Now I need to align them all together properly. There's an alignment tool, but I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, let's put the photo back where it needs to be. So, everything looks fine. Select one vector, one image, go into mask mode, it's all good. Click done. So, one vector is used up for the mask, and here we set the engraving parameters. 15% power should be enough. The speed was 3000 millimeters per second, one pass, 160 lines, bidirectional, and we don't need an angle offset. We're not using crosshatch here, it's all good. For the image, well, it should be as simple as possible. The dot duration was 250. Okay, let's use the Bayer mode down here. I like that one. The power was only 15% of the machine's capacity. We'll crank the DPI to the max. One pass, bidirectional. Just set this value to 20. The frequency set automatically. Let's select it again. Cleaning is turned off. The photo's turned on. The background's on. That's it. Now select what we need. Process. And here we go. Okay, let's talk a bit while it's noisy during the engraving process. With the first photo, I decided to work some magic on the second one. Everything here should be as simple as possible. Again, let's make a copy. Control C, Control V. I don't know what this is related to again. Say, working with the image, I've now put the image vector, that is, the cleaning, on a lower layer, whereas before, this cleaning was on a higher layer. And again, when selecting two objects, that is, when the layout is higher, for some reason it wouldn't start during engraving. I found a bunch of reasons, I'll explain it all now, tell you in more detail. So we take two photos, go back into editing, and here we turn off everything completely. That is, turn off grayscale and set the sharpness back to 0. Here we set everything completely to 0 as well. Let's go through it like this. 0, 0, 0. And here we'll also set the value to 0. So we have the original photo, we just made it grayscale, but even so, it was a little bit too dark. A little lacking in contrast, a little blurry. We adjusted the sharpness a bit here, so we played around with the sharpness back and forth, played around. Accordingly, with the saturation parameters, we don't need that here, so we'll set a negative value. The brightness can be bumped up a little, since I can see that the background here is blending into his hair. Maybe even a bit more. We can play with the contrast, so that way we get a really high contrast shade of the hair relative to the background, let's say, but let's not forget that the eyes should also be, well, more or less, temperature. Why it's acting up here, I don't know. To be honest, it really shouldn't. Well, it shouldn't be showing up for us at all in this regard, and the tint isn't working here. So ideally, we should get an image something like this, but here we see a white spot appeared on the face, and the eyes are too dark. Again, I'm just quickly doing the settings, kinda haphazardly. Maybe here I would, look, we have this thing called sharpness right here. I'd bump up the sharpness a bit and use this photo for the engraving. We'll delete this one, keep this one, move the cleaning of our tag up the object list, and here's the mistakes I made. In my haste, I didn't set it to MOPA IR here. So that's one thing, and for some reason, for this process to engrave, the vector object had to be selected. I probably restarted the process about 4 times, so it doesn't always start up effectively. The sequencing process is because it was originally set to blue laser instead of MOPA IR, that's why it happened. And accordingly, I made the first mistake in the image, which I also fixed, setting it to unidirectional engraving. Now we'll restart this process, see what we get in the end, and then we'll take a look at the final result. Now, let's get down to business, or rather, let's look at it from the end. That is, I'll be looking specifically at what I didn't like, how to convey the image, which visually, of course, looks very cool to the eye. The detail is also very cool, but I didn't like these options. So, Sierra, I tested the Jarvis format. Well, you have to see if maybe something will be better, but alas, there's nothing better. Stooky. Now with Stooky, an interesting situation arose, meaning in theory, Stooky is that very mode where it turned out quite well. In tests like this, for example, on painted aluminum, yeah, Stooky did everything as well and as beautifully as possible. Yeah, sorry, it's late evening already. I haven't stopped with the tests today, and with Stooky, well, everything turned out very cool. But the Bayer mode didn't turn out so great here, meaning the dot mode, which worked, well, so-so, let's just say not particularly great. And a similar situation here, meaning the Sierra mode, Jarvis, well, not bad. Stucky also seems okay, but despite all that, there are some nuances here. If we look at the Bayer option, Bayer is just a very cool, lifelike image. I don't know, just at max settings on camera, of course, it might not look as lifelike and cool, but how it looks in reality is just fire. I'm looking at it right now, seriously. This is just, well, like the best photo that could possibly be. And on top of that, it's, well, really lifelike. Let's zoom in on it as much as possible. I mean, it's just awesome. Considering we worked on stainless steel. It's time to look at the final test, specifically the test on the titanium tag. Take a look right away. First of all, it's not some kind of rough engraving. It's a really good, glossy one. Amazing quality. I'll touch it with my hands like this. You'll see the fingerprints right away. So it's done quite well. It turned out to be a dark, low-quality original photo. Its resolution is 600 by 400, surface matting accordingly, and the photo engraving itself. Well, it turned out pretty well. But I immediately didn't like that we have this dark color transition plus dark hair. It's a so-so situation. Yeah, if you look at it with your own eyes, it looks, of course, much better than on camera. And accordingly, the edited version, that is, with color correction, turned out very cool. I mean, the detail, quality, colors, saturation, all of this was done in literally a couple of minutes. I think the quality's decent. Now, let's take all of this and touch it with our hands like this, rub it, it'll look the same. No worse, it won't change color, tone, or anything. Same story here, only it's a bit dark here. I've saved all the layouts and projects, and again, all the data will be down there in the description under our, as they say, video clip. Access, again, links to the Telegram channel where all these layouts will be posted, only on Telegram, because it's the best place to share them. Links to the official dealers for the xTool F2 machine will also be down there in the description. Contact phone numbers will all be in the description. That's it, guys. Wishing you all more goodness, cash, and bye-bye to everyone.